Laoshi Lawrence McElroy here. Another Facebook Live session on Monday at 10 a.m. We are a month into it. I think our first one was Monday, March 23rd. So, of course, this is for the greater community, given the current crisis, but specifically for our Sachem Public Library program that has, well, in these times of COVID, been suspended. So I'm in the middle of a very short series of Laoshi favorites for these on Monday and Tuesday. I have 3. This is number 2. A lot of people tend to, as I have joked about, whenever I say, this is one of my favorites, go, oh no, here it comes. The pain. I don't think so, but other people have a different opinion. So today, going to focus, we're just going to do a little shake, and then we're going to focus on what we call in the Water Tiger School lineage, or Teacup Exercise. Now, it has many names. I got a message here. I'm going to take a look. Good morning to Colette. So anyway, it has many different names, but we call it Teacup Exercise. It's also known as the Spiraling Teacup Exercise, Teacup Serving Exercise, or the Serving Tea Exercise. And it is not actually from Tai Chi or Qigong. It's from Baguazhang or Pakua, which literally translates as 8 trigram palm. And it's a reference to the 8 trigrams that are in the preliminary steps into the I Ching, or the Book of Changes. And interestingly enough, in our pre-recorded series on our YouTube channel, I did a short series on the 13 root energies of Tai Chi. And the first 8 energies also correspond to the 8 trigrams, also known as the 8 gates. But anyway, and I always want to give credit where credit is due. Sort of like great writing, great Tai Chi instruction, a lot of it is theft. And this is proudly and openly stolen from Nancy Fiano, Dojo of the Dancing Dragon, who all the way back in the fall, well, almost fall, it was the beginning of September of 2007, in our summer public event, Tai Chi in the Park, that was still, of course, going on in 2007. She presented it as a warm-up when she took the front one morning. And I fell in love with the exercise, and always have. So what we're going to do is sort of break it down a little bit. I just realized I neglected to grab something that I'll need, so I'm going to step off camera for a moment before I take my place, and sort of give you some hints, some clues. There are a lot of different ways to do the teacup exercise. Matter of fact, we keep ours stationary. Bagua players will take it into a walking exercise and actually walk the Bagua circle while doing the teacup movement. But anyway, it's a great exercise. I love it. It's great for shoulder mobility. It's great for whole body movement. It's great for our body awareness, proprioception, and kinesthesia, and knowing where the body is in space and where the body is in movement. And we'll talk about all those things as we do the exercise. So I'll be right back. Don't go away. I'm still here. I'm just off camera, grabbing a couple little things that I'm going to need. Now, I've set the camera up, so you don't really need to see my feet. Everything's important. I want to stay rooted, that sort of thing, but it's going to be more important for you to see the hands as they go over the head. So let's start with a little shake. So what, why do I say it's good for proprioception and kinesthesia, awareness of the body in space and awareness of the body in movement? Because we have to be aware of where our palms are, because they need to stay up. It's called the teacup exercise because it should be as if we are holding teacups with tea in them in our hands as we move through this exercise. So you don't want to spill the tea. Now, there are all sorts of images that you can use with that, aside from just the teacup image. Now, we tend to focus at Water Tiger School, the basic exercise is both hands moving at the same time. However, we always point out that it is a lot easier at first to maybe play one hand at a time so you get a sense of what it is like to keep one palm up, and you also have a better opportunity of seeing that hand, that sort of thing. And speaking of seeing your hands and knowing where they are, it might be a good idea to practice this in front of a mirror. Or we've made the observation a few times in our remote sessions, studio sessions, and there had been at least one post in our public, in our social media, about the fact that, hey, you know, we all have these various devices that have cameras, and if your device has a camera, it probably has some sort of recording modality to it. Record yourself. I always point out in our Qigong program in the studio that there was once a student who we were doing an external set that was very important, that the physicality was exactly right as far as the positioning of the body, that sort of thing, where the hands were. And we did a deep drill one week, came back the next, and the student said, you know, Laoshi, I practiced in front of a mirror and my hands were not where I thought they were. So it's important to sort of, you know, see. And practicing in front of a mirror gives you immediate feedback as to, you know, are your palms really where you think they are? We want to keep in mind, however, as we do this exercise, I don't want to strain and stress to keep my palms up, because that adds tension to the equation, and tension will disallow being able to allow the palms to stay up. So think about it more as allowing the palms to stay up. Just be mindful of that. One hand at a time. I'm going to start just one hand. I'm going to forget I have the other hand. I'm going to move up first, and the fingertips move out. Palms up. In over the head, down and forward, back, and come back to the front. So if we imagine ourselves having a clock, and when I'm facing, you know, while I'm facing you, while I'm facing the camera, my fingers are at 12. So as they go up, there's 9, there's 6, there's 3, there's 12, there's 9, there's 6, there's 3, there's 12. So whatever height you need, like say for instance, I have a shoulder impingement, I don't have to go over my head. I can keep it right at my ear, right? So hi, there I am at 3 o'clock. My nice little fingers there. There I'm at 12. There I'm at 9. There I'm at 6. There I am, or sorry, 3, and that was 6, and this was 3, and this is 12. I love live video. So that's my first hand, that's my left hand. And one of the things about doing one hand at a time is that you also can get more whole body movement into it. And that's also another reason that I like this exercise, is that it involves engaging the whole body. I don't want to just stand here and move the hand. I want to feel that spiraling, coiling movement through the body as I move. So the other hand, remember, the right isn't the left and the left isn't the right. So you might find one side easier or more difficult than the other. Just have to work at it then. So here I am, I'm going up. It's the same pattern, up and out. So there's 3, there's 6, there's 9, there's 12, there's 3, there's 6, there's 9, there's 12. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12. Do the lower version, 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12. So one hand at a time gives you an opportunity. And if you want something else, now I want to point out, yes, this is a tea light. It's small, it's light, and it's actually a tea light that's been burned, so it's even lighter. So if it falls out of my hand and hits me in the head, it ain't going to hurt me. So if you want to put something in your hand, I do not suggest actual teacups with actual tea. So about that, as a matter of fact, Nancy Fiano says, if you really feel like you've gotten this exercise, then perhaps get a goblet of red wine and practice over a white carpet. She said that jokingly. I just said that jokingly. It is not recommended. I do not suggest that in any way, shape, or form. Legal, is that okay now? Oh, okay, thanks. They're shaking their head. So again, it's in my hand. Now I don't want to cheat, right? I could palm that tea light, but that would be cheating. I want it to be able to fall if I don't keep my palm up. So still one hand. There's 3, there's 6, there's 9, there's 12, there's 3, there's 6, there's 9, there's 12. So you can do that. I want to point out that when I was using the left hand and going up, it was going counterclockwise. When I use the right hand and it's going up, it's going clockwise. But they're both moving the same direction. So they're moving up at the same time, over the head at the same time, down at the same time, and out, under and in and forward. So they're really moving the same direction, but they're spiraling in opposite directions. Left hand's moving counterclockwise, right hand's moving clockwise. In other words, as I go, and when I talk about these directions, I usually use that. I say something about the hands first, up, and the fingers second, out. Over, hands are going over, the shoulders are over the head, and fingertips in. Down, hands are going down, fingertips are forward. Out. Under, hands are under the arms, and fingertips in. So 2 hands at the same time, moving in the same direction as our primary exercise is actually a little tough on people. Because what that does, moving in the same direction at the same time, is it puts an activation across the chest and the back that makes it a little bit tougher to maintain your relaxation, which is another reason I like this exercise, because it challenges us to remain relaxed as we're moving. So we have that going for us. It's so rich. And I really, when I do this, I really get the body going. You want some movement through the whole body. You really want it to come from the center, both down into the earth and up into the upper body and down the arms into the hands to be generated from the Xia Dantian and out. So loosen up and move as best you can. So here's our primary exercise, both hands moving the same direction, up, but of course spiraling in opposite directions. So up and out. Notice a big arc in the spine, over and in, down and out, under and in, up and out, breathing, over and in. And we always talk about in our Tai Chi and our Tai Chi Qigong, we want the breath in the movement and the movement in the breath. I like to do that here as well, though again, it's a Bagua exercise. I'm going to turn sideways for a moment just so you can see that. There's up and out, over and in, down and out, under and in, up and out, over and in, down and out, under and in. And do just a couple more in this direction. Breathing, shoulders stay dropped and relaxed as my hands go over the height of my head. I don't want to start this lift in my shoulders. I'll get in trouble. Another image you can use. I did a short outdoor sequence for a library program. We're going to go one more time. And it happened to be at around the noon hour. And hopefully now it's the first time you spill your tea. And as I was doing the exercise, I was leading the exercise, I had this thought, this observation, this realization. Wow, I'm really generating some chi in my hands because my palms are really getting warm. Then I realized it was because it was close to noon and the sun was overhead. So you can imagine yourself sunning the palms of your hands, feel the warmth of the sun. You can also imagine yourself in, one of those Indiana Jones, James Bond, escape rooms that all of a sudden the ceiling starts to lower. So you're pressing the ceiling up throughout. The other thing that is sort of in the back of my mind as I'm doing these exercises is I'm just remembering that the hard points are right here. Right in the first direction, it's right here. the tendency is to drop the hands in the direction of the thumbs. So at any point, it's really probably going to be the thumbs that drop down. So I just keep in mind that I want to allow that thumb side of the hand to stay upward. So that's the primary version, both hands moving in the same direction at the same time, up and down together. Starting with up. We have the reverse of that. Now, just like the left isn't the right and the right isn't the left, up is not down and down is not up. So when we switch to the other direction, you might have more range of motion. You might have less range of motion. Most people fall into the latter category. But I also want to point out, when you go the other direction, I'll do one hand at a time to start. Right? Now the left hand is going clockwise. There's 3, there's 6, there's 9, there's 12, there's 3, there's 6, there's 9, there's 12. I'm going to go around again. Right? So under and in, up, forward, over and in, down and out, and forward. So that means, yes, if I'm going down with the right hand, it's now going to go counterclockwise. So there's 9, there's 6, there's 3, there's 12, there's 9, there's 6, there's 3, there's 12. 9, 6, 3, 12, 9, 6, 3, 12. So again, maybe start with a single hand, sort of forget about the other hand for a little while so you get a feeling, a sense, but recognize, and you probably just saw, a lot more twisting and turning in the body when I use only one hand at a time. Wait, it gets better. So fingertips forward. My little tea lights, both of them have been burnt. So under and in, up and out, over and in, down and out. Boom, there's one. Under and in, up and out, over and in, down and out. So again, the most challenging point for most people is right here. Keeping my elbows open, keeping my palms up and my shoulders dropped, and that little emphasis to the thumb side of my hands so I don't lose, well, image-wise, the teacups, but in reality right now, the tea lights. Breathing, relaxing, and releasing. So though the hands are moving up together, back together, down together, they are turning in opposite directions. And that brings us to our sort of bonus. I don't know, it doesn't really qualify as a burnout, but our bonus aspect of this exercise is to open up the body more so you have the flexibility that you get using one hand at a time, only still do both hands at the time. And the way that we do that at Water Tiger School, again, lots and lots of different ways of doing this serving tea exercise, including walking while doing it, which we don't do. Now they're stationary, feet are still shoulder wide or maybe a little bit wider. There's still an undulation and a twist in the body, but the hands are going to move in opposite directions. One's going to go up and one's going to go down. However, when you do the split direction, the left hand goes up, the right hand goes down. Now both hands are turning in the same counterclockwise direction. So if you start with left up and right down, moving in two directions, one up, one down, both hands are at 9, both sets of fingers are at 9 at the same time, both sets of fingers are at 6 at the same time, both sets of fingers are at 3 at the same time, there's 12, there's 9, there's 6, there's 3, 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 there's 12, there's 9, there's 6. Oops, there's 6, there's 3, there's 12. I'm going to go around one more time since I just screwed that up. There's 9, there's 6, there's 3, there's 12, there's 9, there's 6, there's 3, there's 12. Now I'm going to do that one more time because see now I get all of this vertical and horizontal twisting in the body. So it's much easier to keep the palms up when the hands are moving in opposite directions because I have more flexibility to move the body more three-dimensionally than I do when both hands are moving the same direction at the same time. So of course, if you can start with the left up and the right down, you can also start with the right up and the left down. And again, the hands are moving in two directions, one up, one down, or one down and one up at the same time. However, they're both turning in the same direction. So if I start with the right up and the left down, now both are turning clockwise. So there's 3. They're both sets of fingers are pointing 6 at the same time, both at 9 at the same time, both at 12 at the same time, both at 3 at the same time. 9, 6, 9, 12. Or, if you don't want to get so tied up with the clock, both my hands, when I'm going with the right hand raising first, are turning to the right at the same time. Or perhaps I just want to say they're both at the north, they're both at the east, they're both at the south, they're both at the west. They're both at the north, they're both at the east, they're both at the south, they're both at the west. And as I talked about with one hand at the beginning, if you don't have the range of motion to go high up over the head, that's okay. Over your shoulder. When you're doing two directions at the same time, if you need to pass over the center line where one hand would knock the teacup off the other hand, if there were really teacups there, that's okay too. Don't feel like you also have to not drop the teacups by knocking them off of one another. You can brush the hands closer together as they pass one another over the head in those two directions, if that helps to open up the shoulders. And who knows, since this is good for shoulder mobility, I've ran across literature online, and of course, since I found it online, I know it. I absolutely, positively know it has to be true, that folks have used this exercise as sort of a shoulder rehab. Now, warning, 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 danger, Will Robinson. Just because I said that, maybe you'll find it online too. At some point, talk to your doctor, your physical therapist, your orthopedist first. You really, if you have a shoulder injury, don't just figure out what to do yourself for your rehab. Talk to the professionals and get something that will work for you, for your particular issue, for your particular injury, for your particular rehabilitation, because we are all different and we all need to do the right thing for us and not just find some cookie cutter thing. So anyway, that's really it. I mean, that's our teacup exercise in a nutshell. I did a little bit more expanded than I usually do when I teach this in the room to sort of give that first, the way to work yourself into this with the single hand. But our basic approach in the room, on the mat, and currently remotely is up first with both hands, then the opposite direction. And then usually in a public setting, I only sort of talk about and demonstrate. And if anybody wants to give this, a little exploration while I'm at the front of the room, then that's fine. But we don't formally do the two-directional thing. Though, again, I'm going to use my personal pronoun. I find the two directions easier. We tend to get on our heads when we do that. When we do the two directions. Oh, where's the one hand? Where's the other? Which again is why I like this exercise, because it challenges our whole body movement and our awareness of the whole body and moving, sort of in a bi-directional way. It's, it's sort of like, patting your head and rubbing your belly. You're doing two things at once. And I didn't used to be able to do that. I think something came into my life that really helped me be able to do the patting the head, rubbing the belly thing. I don't know, maybe you've heard of it. It's called Tai Chi. So there you go. This morning's session, focusing on water tigers, teacup exercise. I hope you found it useful, interesting, and perhaps maybe even a little entertaining. I do this exercise a lot. I mean, it opens up so much. I get the legs involved. I have the big undulation. And it does. I mean, I have found that it helps to open up the shoulders, my shoulders as well, most of the time, not always. So teacup exercise, spiraling teacup exercise, whatever you want to call it. Just, do it. Don't try. Oh, wait. I think that's what that says. And I have yet this morning to turn around. So, do or do not. There is no try. So thanks again. We'll be back next Monday for something, I'm sure engaging and worth your time. We'll also be here tomorrow morning at 10:15. Again, for the greater community, of course, in this time that we find ourselves of being alone together. But specifically, for the folks who have, are currently without their program in West Babylon. So it'll be the last of the Laoshi favorites exercises, a little thing from a set that we call now Tai Chi Qigong Reeling Silk. It's called Rotating the Ball. I think you'll dig it. So anyway, see you next time. Stay well, stay calm, wash your hands. I suppose depending upon where you live, but if you live in the tri-state region, wear a mask when you go out. And as I always say, as I sort of said during this about talking to your medical professional about, doing this exercise for rehab, let's wait for the medical and scientific experts to tell us when we can take the next step. So until next time, ta.